Hello and welcome to Kraftwerke, and this is another how-to hints and tips bob for the boys and girls of the interwebs. This is about getting a kind of a noiseless signal into your audio interface, so that, or having a noiseless signal coming from your audio interface into your DAW or into your Amplitube or bias, etc., so that you don't have that kind of static or hum thing going on. I've always had that problem with especially Amplitube. At the moment I put drive pedals in front of the virtual amps in Amplitube, so not externally. Then there's a real noise in the background. That noise, you can also still hear it when the actual tone is created, so when you're strumming, so it's not just when you're not strumming. It sounds just like a grounding issue, so it's the old buzz, not buzz, touching the strings, etc. However, I know that this guitar is very well earthed. This is built by myself. I know that the earthing on this is perfect. But it seems to be an issue with the USB interfaces, because the USB interfaces draw the power from the PC. I'm assuming that there's some sort of grounding problem that can go on there, using external devices putting into it. So what I've done here is I've got a typical setup where my guitar is going pretty much straight into the Alesis IO2 interface. Excuse me, I just had my coffee. So what happens is it goes straight in there, and the moment that you put some drive pedals in front of it, you will hear the noise. So I'll quickly just show you what I'll do is I'll quickly show you the first kind of tone stack, if you like, or the signal path. So segments, so I can put this on here. So the sound goes into my pedal board and it comes straight out the zoom. That's the black wire there. It then goes straight into the Alesis here. The Alesis obviously is just a USB interface, works pretty well for me. So I've turned the tone down, but if I now turn the tone up, you will start hearing the noise. To give you an indication what's going on here, Amplitube has got the OCD in front of it, going into the, I think it's a Mark 5 or something, amp into the orange cab, and that is the noise we're getting. So if I play, the noise to kind of sound ratio is pretty high, so it becomes pretty unusable. So we need to find a way to have that static and hum out, and it's, as you can hear, it sounds very much like a ground loop type thing, a typical grounding issue. So what I have come up with is a way to pass the signal through something that is grounded properly. Probably most people who use a decent mains powered audio interfaces probably don't have this issue. So if this issue exists with you, it's probably something else. This is mainly for the likes of people who use these USB or these little guitar plugs and stuff like that. So the only thing I have to do, I don't want to take out my big USB mixer, the 16-track in-out, because I felt like we can just use the We Practice amp. It has a line out, it has a CD in and a line out. So the idea here is that we're going to go from the CD in into the line out. Let me just put this down a bit. So I'm going to give you quickly a sound sample of the normal way with some drums. noise in the signal is still audible when the guitar is playing back. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to rejig the wiring so that the wiring now goes from my usual setup into, I'll show you once it's done. Now we're going to have to rejig the actual sound coming in. So now we're now coming out from the zoom and we're going straight into the CD in, and from the CD in, from the phones out into the LACs. And the reason here is very simple. Why we're going into the CD in and not through the amp? Because I don't want it to go through the preamp. The preamp is going to alter the sound. I want just the raw guitar tone, as raw as possible, into the DAW. If we went through the guitar in, it would be fine, but then we would obviously not be able to bypass the whole shitty amp's preamp stage. Now, you can use that preamp and switch in Amplitude or whatever. You switch the actually preamp set, you bypass the preamp section. That's okay. So you just use the speaker emulation. That's okay. But for this scenario, it's mainly because I want to use all the pedals, all the amp simulations, all the cap simulations, all that purely from Amplitude. I don't want the signal that goes in there to be in any way tainted by anything else. So what we do have to do now is get the signal up a bit. So there's a couple of things we can do here. From what I've noticed is the more you can turn down your input level on your guitar emulator, the cleaner the sound. So now we can give this another shot. So that is the whole story today. Any questions, let me know down below. I'll see if I can answer them. Thank you very much. Kraftwerk out.